starts. Complete the mission.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to iTalk Games. Today, I'm playing some Star Wars Outlaws. I saw this come up on Xbox. I was just scrolling through what's new, coming soon, things like that. And I saw this pop up. I hadn't heard of it, so I took a glance. And the first open world game set in the Star Wars universe. When I looked into it, that's what it said. And that sounded interesting. You know, like maybe The Witcher or something like that in the Star Wars universe. Make your own decisions, travel in the universe, go on planet to planet. It sounded like a lot of fun, so I wanted to give it a shot. I also enjoyed the Cal Kestis games. I played those. Played the first one when it first came out, and I 100%ed that one. I really liked it. I played the second one for a little while. I don't remember why, but for some reason it got put on the back burner. But I really enjoyed those games, so I wanted to give this one a shot. So that's what I did. So I installed it and got ready to dive in. First thing it did, threw me into some settings. I didn't know what a lot of those settings were, but the one thing that I did know is that I wanted to increase the difficulty a little bit. I didn't want to play on the easiest difficulty, so I upped it to Outlaw rather than the default Adventure. But other than that, I left all the rest of the settings. And then I got brought to the display mode setting, and I went back and forth on this a little bit, ultimately deciding on playing on cinematic mode, given the fact that it's a video game based on a movie, so I wanted to try out cinematic mode. Before we were thrown into the game, the first thing we were shown was this cutscene. It was a meeting of some higher-ups within the criminal underworld, meeting with this guy named Sliro, who's the leader of a group named Zarek Besh.
Finally, Zarek Besh is here.
Each of you represents some of the most powerful criminal organizations in the galaxy. Pikes, Crimson Dawn, Hutts. To my surprise, one of you sends a spy into my own house.
Turns out somebody tried to put a spy within Zarek Besh, and he's not happy about that, so we had all those people. After that cutscene played out, we got to meet Kay, who's our playable character, and we also got to meet her cute little pet Nyx, which is some sort of alien pet who can help out around, and I'll show that later on in the video. We got out of bed, we walked around for a little bit, found a workbench, found a data pad showing that we owed people money, but that seems to be about it. So after that, I headed out the door. There's some other doors in this little corridor that I checked, but it looks like none of them can be opened, so I just continued on down. Once I got to the bottom of the stairs, I discovered that I lived above a bar, which is very How I Met Your Mother.
Beer, bar, downstairs, 15-second walk.
Once I got into the bar, I walked up to the bartender, learned his name was Bram, and that he helps me find work. Yeah, he helps me find work. And it looks like Bram gives other people work. He seems to be more like a facilitator of sorts. I also learned when I got down here that he had my data spike, which I'll come to learn is very important in this game, though I didn't know it at the time. And that I've been dealing on territory of some very bad people who even these mercenaries and criminals who work in this area don't even want to mess with. So Bram doesn't like that.
And now you're gonna say messing with the sick skin is a bad idea.
Bram's trying to be helpful and be like a father figure to Kay, but she's not having any of it. She's not even taking the credits toward her rent, which I think she definitely should.
Then I'll put it towards your rent.
I said I'm good, Bram.
After talking to Bram, I had to get my data spike fixed, so I started to head outside when I saw this table that looked like horse racing. Horse racing being in the game sounded cool, so I sat down and thought about placing a wager. Before I did, I wondered if I was already working with limited funds though, funds that I might need later if I lost the bet, and ultimately decided against making that bet at this time. Looking back, I think I probably should have. It's one of those things where I have a hard time deciding what to do. I've played games in the past where I'd placed a wager or bought what I thought was a useful item early on, just to find out I kind of screwed myself because the next thing, which might be better, cost too much now, and I would have been able to afford it if I hadn't bought that earlier thing. I've also played games where if you miss something early on or don't do something early on, you could completely miss out on obtaining something or finding a key item that could be useful later. If you don't do the thing you're supposed to do, you just miss out and there's no going back. Hell, you probably wouldn't even know that you missed something unless a friend told you about it later. Since this was one of the first things I saw before I was even able to leave Bram's, I wasn't sure which side this might be on, if any. But like I said, I ultimately decided to hold on to my money and headed outside to see about getting my data spike fixed. I walked outside to see a fireworks show going on, some sort of celebration, and headed up the street. I don't want to miss anything, so I pretty much took the longest route possible, meandering through the streets as I headed toward the place to get my data spike repaired. I stopped here and talked to this person.
Hey, Nafis, kinda busy.
I got an opening on my Dr. Scrubber team, and I could sure use a good crawler.
She didn't have much to say though.
It's honest.
And I went up to this merchant, but my health vials were full and there wasn't anything else available to buy. As I made my way around the corner, I saw these two guys talking. It looked like they were talking about something shady, so I wanted to see what would happen if I stood next to them. I've played some games where if you stand next to people talking business like this, they'll let you know that you're a little too close. I wanted to see if that was the case with this game.
And our cut is what we say it is. No complaints.
Turns out it wasn't. After listening to them talk, I started heading towards Prebins again when I saw this pop-up showing me that Nix has abilities. He can pick things up from far away, steal from certain people in the world, and more, which we'll find out later. It's weird too, because it's obvious who Nix is stealing for. He runs right back up to me after grabbing the item and I take it from him. The people just stand there confused, wondering what happened. Kind of ruins the immersion a bit, but it is what it is. After messing with Nix's abilities for a little bit, I continued on down the path looking for the place I needed to go, which was Prebin's shop. On my way into Prebin's, I stopped here because I thought that might be C-3PO. Turns out, that's just what a lot of the droids look like. They're all over the place, so maybe that was just a little bit robotist of me.
You vile racist! Haven't my people suffered enough?
I finally made it to Prebin's, and it turns out me messing with that other group with Sixth Skin has had disastrous effects. Nobody wants to work with me.
Una six-kin pind ut chituana ubaja pagoyama sif no lia club tasis.
Come on. I just need my data spike fixed. You help me one last time, and we never talk again.
Eniki kutuba numa jeje kopa.
But at least this guy said if I get him some credits, he'll take care of me one last time and I can get off this planet. I walked outside, I looked around for a mission marker or something to do in order for me to earn credits. The only thing I really discovered was that I could pet the animals walking around the area, which was cute.
Oh, hello.
I headed down here and with no other options, decided to see if there was somebody else I could steal from. I found some people I could steal from, and since that was my best way to earn credits, that's what I did until I had enough to take to Prebin. As I was walking around looking for people to steal from to make the credits, I ended up talking to this guy who seemed to know that Nick stole from him, so one person does.
It's the bill of the 3 Milura and your little scud stole from me last week.
It's the only person who said anything, and ultimately nothing came of it. I thought after talking to him I could rob him again, which would have been hilarious, but it wasn't the case. I also thought it was funny that when you go to rob somebody in this game, they'll just stop in their tracks to allow the animation to happen, which again, kind of takes away from the immersion a bit, but it is what it is. I finally got all the credits I needed, but since I was out and about and it's an open world game, I decided to do a little bit more discovery. Nix found a couple things, I was able to pet a couple more animals, but otherwise, there wasn't a whole lot to do. After discovering not a whole lot, I headed back to Prebin. Prebin reluctantly helped me and told me to never come back. Friends like these, right?
Okay, now we get that identicard from Club Tarsus.
What do I have to do now? Why am I doing this? So I went back and double checked. As soon as you leave the bar the first time, she mentions that she wants to steal an identicard that will get her onto a shuttle to get her off of this planet.
Then we break into Club Tarsus and steal the forged identicards from their safe. With any luck, they'll get us on a shuttle to the core worlds.
I missed it the first time around, so I had to go back and watch. So after getting my data spike fixed and leaving Prebin's, promising to never see him again, had to head over to the nightclub to get the identicard because I am clearly not wanted here. Again though, it being me, being an open world RPG, I couldn't just head straight to what I was doing, so I decided to meander a little bit, see if there was any secrets to find, collectibles to collect, or people to rob. I decided to stop and pet another one of these, see if I could jump over this guy, of course do some more exploring, and as I was running I found this little mini game I could play. I wanted to see how I could do with that and what it would give me if I could beat it. I started out real strong and was killing it, but once I hit that first bump, there was no going back. That was a fun waste of time, but I gotta keep it moving. Found the front door of the nightclub, but since I'm well known around here and not well loved, they did not let me in the front door.
You're not getting in, Kay. Club's already got enough rats.
Really funny.
Tried to go down this side, but this guy was clearly blocking that area, so I had to find my own way in. On the way, I'm not sure if I'd never thought about it before, but I can also pet Nix, I discovered. Something I probably should have tried a long time ago.
Who's a good boy?
Looks like I can't go up. Looks like I can't go through. Let's see if I can go under. Nice. So I got in here. I finally discovered what the data spike was for. It's a mini game that's kind of sound and rhythm based. And if you hit the rhythm on beat, then you can unlock whatever you're trying to unlock. I really like this mini game. It was really cool. This was one of the more fun aspects I think of this game. When you're breaking in like this, it seems to be kind of stealth when you can crouch, so I was leaning into the stealth aspect of this game. I thought that's where it was taking us. After I got through that door, came through here, did a little bit of climbing and realized it was pretty much the same climbing mechanics as Jedi Survivor. Continued on, dropped down, and made my way into the club.
Do your
Learned another one of Nick's tricks is that he can jump through small spaces that I can't fit through to press buttons for me to open doors and unlock things. Doors can be opened, they're just bathrooms, but I check them anyway. Finally got in the club. I thought it was weird that I couldn't get in the front door but could freely walk around walking past security with no issues, but hey, I'm in, let's do what I need to do. I walked around a bit, again, to discover what was there to be discovered and to find out how I needed to accomplish the task that I needed to accomplish. I saw this door on the way in, wasn't sure what was behind it, but a locked door needs to be opened in a video game, so I wanted to find ways to open it. I walked down here and I talked to this bartender who gave me a little bit of info on one of the bouncers who could help me get into the area that I wanted to get into.
Yeah, he only cares about two things: easy money and fast speeders. Just bought himself a brand new T85.
I took that advice, went over and talked to the bouncer, and he left the door available for me to walk right on through.
T85? Some scrap rats are outside trying to jack it.
What? Get out of my way. No one scraps my Jobin.
That worked.
I hadn't figured out how to open that other door yet, so I went out first and decided to do that. Once I got the key stolen from a guard and got open that door, I just discovered it was a different method of getting into the area that I needed to get in. I suspected that was the case, but I needed to be sure. I headed up through this door, discovered this guard facing the wrong way, as they always are for some reason, and continued on to find what I needed to find. It looked like an official office with some documents that were needed, so I looked around to find the documents that I wanted. Used my data spike again to open this door, found the documents I needed, and discovered Kay's dark secret.
Here they are. Oh, come on, Preben. Your plans didn't have a pressure switch.
It's K-Bass!
She has no problem just straight up murdering people. And it's an Outlaws game, it's an open world RPG. I assumed I was gonna kill people, but if you're gonna be stealthy, you know, it just felt like it wasn't gonna be a straight up murder people. It was gonna be more of a knock out people type game if necessary. But hey, I can just shoot people, just straight up murder them, no qualms about it. I still like the stealthy aspect, you know, just shooting my way out seemed a little bit like a cop out in a lot of scenarios, especially if I'm not necessarily trying to be that person. But when the time comes, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I walked out here and I spent some time seeing if it was realistic enough that I could take out these rats. And I also wanted to see what Nyx's capabilities were for takedowns.
Go get him.
I thought Nyx was going to take him out. I thought maybe it would take 2 attacks to take him out. Turns out he can't actually take people down, just more of a distraction while they're being attacked, but it's better than nothing. So I had to go out hot again instead of sneaking through this area. Running through, still figuring out my mechanics, figuring out what the items are that need to be picked up. Looked like it was a health vial, but I can only carry 2 at the time, maybe 3, and slowly but surely made my way out. The way the music was playing and the way that this layout was, like I knew once I went down this little ramp, I couldn't go back up. I thought I was being pursued, but no matter how much time I took, nobody ever caught up to me. It was perfectly fine. I could take my time and get out at my leisure, find all the things that I needed. There were a couple times I walked by, I thought the people would be coming after me, but it turns out they're just ambient workers who don't really care what's going on around them as long as they get their jobs done. I finally made it back to Bram's, where I could hide out for the night in relative safety. Turns out not safe. Bram was waiting for me, he's mad.
Just walk in there and steal the most valuable scan docs in Kanto.
Hey, Red! We know you're here. Let's make this easy.
You say nothing. No.
Come on!
These 6 skin people know that I live here, know that Bram helps me, so they came to find me, but apparently aren't smart enough to just check upstairs, check the doorway that he came out of. Whatever, that's neither here nor there. But now Bram's pissed too, wants me to get off world, gives me that big job that I wanted earlier that he wouldn't give me, but he thinks the score is big enough to get me away, get away from 6th kin, and stop him from being attacked. I mean, he just got shot. I never did quite discover what that big mission was, just that it was a big score. Still don't know even as he gave it to me. So after talking to him being mad, and me needing to get away, I decided to head back outside. Once I got outside this time though, I discovered that the 6th kin is onto me, and they're everywhere looking for me, so I gotta sneak around, otherwise I'm done for. Thanks for watching. This was only the beginning, and not to give too much away, but we haven't even seen the splash screen or graphic introducing the title of the game yet. There's so much more to see, so stay tuned, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Peace!